What's going on, everyone? Matic here, and welcome to our 6-month update on how to make an iron fist. All right, again, welcome back. This is our 6-month update of our Making the Iron Fist video. It's now December 1st, about 6 months from the original video that was part 1, and that was back in June, and now we are 6 months later to see what our progress is. So to get the results out of the way, we've mostly been using this grip tester, whatnot. Again, I'll put the link of the one I bought on Amazon down in the description, and we will get our best out of 3. It was 118.2. That was god awful. That was 124.4. These are not doing well. I almost want to say the leverage here, but hey. And another 124.4. So I think overall we've gone down on the right side. Left side, let's see what that is. We have a 114.2. 105.4. That was better. And a 110.8. So from those numbers, I can definitely tell we have gone down, and that is my fault. The last couple weeks I've been working on a whole lot of stuff, so my workout scheduling and stuff has not been consistent. That is my fault. However, as we do know that 2 months prior, our averages and numbers overall were significantly higher, and that was like a whole lot of work from back then. These last 2 months has been pretty consistent. I've had a whole bunch of crap going on. That's my fault. But as we do know, the result were having an impact, a very good impact. So now that we have the results, as abysmal as they are, I'm going to go over some of the things in tools or accessories and stuff that I use. First and foremost, sword. Now, the swords that I've been using have been these 4 here. I kind of showed in the background of the last video. Now, why am I using 4 different swords or anything special about them? Technically, yes. The swords here in my left hand have a further point of balance versus the ones in my right. The ones in my right hand, the point of balance is closer to the hand. So a further out point of balance typically helps more with cutting through materials or allowing your sword to go through things, versus one that's closer to the hand allows for a little bit more maneuverability. But for both sets, I have a lighter version and a heavier version. For the further point of balance, the light version I have, I think it was like, what, the Combat Commander Saber or whatever. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick blade, polymer handle, very pretty light. But because it has a further point of balance on it, the handling really kind of wants to throw the sword forward and almost out of your hand unless you really maintain that good grip. And as you can kind of see, this piece of tape is actually where I have the point of balance so that I know what, I kind of already know where it is, but I'm kind of doing other stuff in regards to this, and that's why that tape is there. The heavier version of the 4 point of balance is the Cold Steel Thompson Saber. This one, very, very good construction. There's a couple of things about it or whatever, but that's just from basic manufacturing, and you know, just adjust that stuff. Significantly heavier than the Combat Commander one. I'd probably say like at least 2 times as heavy. So definitely when you're moving this, you can't really do so much of a snap type cut. It really wants to pull out of your hand, but there's certainly more momentum, so you do have to do a little bit more of a chopping. But this would probably be more for actual cavalry type stuff, right? Not like infantrymen or anything. It's a little bit kind of too heavy for individual combat. For the closer point of balance, again, I have another Cold Steel, but this is a dueling saber. As you can see, much not nearly as a wide sword. The thickness is almost the same here at the bottom. It's a little bit smaller, but it is definitely like significantly smaller, more flexible. Overall, just much smaller, and you can get a nice swish onto it. You can do a whole lot of things, and it's not really going to try to like throw out of your hand. And then also for this one, the point of balance is about right there. So definitely significantly closer to the hand than the Combat Commander and or the Cold Steel Thompson Saber. And then funnily enough, the sword that closely mimics that I have is my katana here that I used as the model for the heavyweight training sword that we did previously. It just so happens that with the combination of the longer handle and the blade and all that mess, the point of balance winds up being, well, about right there, right? So even then, compared to the others, the point of balance is significantly closer, and I can handle it, right? Trying to hit that. That's annoying. I need to get rid of that. But significantly very, very good handling, even with one hand. But because of the added weight, that is more inertia that I have to either start or stop. So what exactly am I doing with swords to work grip and stuff like that? Kind of the things of what I'm doing. If you can't afford to go out, buy $100, $200, $300, $400 swords, that's perfectly fine. Go back to my video about doing forearm exercises. Just buy yourself a 2 to 4 pound hammer and adjust your grip to affect the point of balance. That's why I said to get a hammer for that specific reason, to give you some variability. But how am I using swords to work grip? So using the dueling saber here, basically what I'm doing is I am choosing a grip. Mostly what I'm choosing, I am choosing to do a saber or handshake type grip. I'm using saber, so I'm going to use a saber grip. Throughout all the movements that I do, what I'm basically doing is I'm maintaining the shape of the sword in regard to my hand and my wrist angle, and then this in relation to my upper arm, and I am just maintaining that shape as I come up and do either down cuts, outside to inside cuts, or inside to outside cuts, all going down. Not really working a whole lot of upward cuts right now. Any type of cuts that I do that involve going up or anything is delegated to the pie drill that I did a video on earlier this year, and link will be down in the description for that. So I do those 3 cuts, I do the pie drill. What else do I do? So because I want to introduce twisting or turning forces, kind of similar to the hammer forearm exercises, is I kind of do this in several ways. One of them is I come up into a high guard and deflection, and then come in with a angled cut one way, and then I do a high guard deflection and angle cut going the other direction. And those are my big movements, right? My big movements. Then I do smaller movements where I just do as little arm movement. I try to make it all wrist, and then I come down into a vertical. Now, again, like I said, throughout all of these movements, I try to maintain the same grip. What does that mean? That means that even while I'm doing this outside turn, I'm not letting my hand let go and then reacquiring the grip. I am maintaining this grip. Now, that does mean that as I do that, if you watch the tip here, as I do that, the tip only comes back to here, maybe just in front of my shoulder. If I relax my hand, well, then the tip goes all the way past my back. Is that wrong or is that right? It depends on the situation. But I am maintaining this grip because I want to work my grip. If I was playing and just doing like spins, twirls, or whatever, and just wanting to play with swords, yeah, I wouldn't matter too much about how my grip is maintained or anything like that, as long as when I go to acquire my cut, I have my grip. So, and the funny thing about that is when I do this working set, I will pick one point of balance, either close or far away, and I will do the light and the heavy version, and that's kind of it. The other day, I will pick a different point of balance and then work that. But what's funny is by doing that dedicated like practice or exercise routines, just with these, just doing grip with these. Now, there's also on top of like other workout stuff where I'm having to like maintain strong grip or whatever. I do make sure that I have a proper rest between exercises. But doing just that 10 to almost 20 minutes of just those exercises with different weights taxes my hand more than probably almost 30 minutes to almost an hour of me taking anything like this or whatever, cutting and stuff and moving, and my hand being able to let go and then reacquire and move. So by allowing my hand to make those adjustments, it gives it a small form of rest, which allows me to practice or train or play or work my hand more. So this is a very good example, again, of once you get a fairly decent level of basics, you then need to start playing with things, one, to find out what you can and cannot do or not capable of at the moment, but also it weirdly allows your training or your play training session to be able to go far longer than dedicated practice, right? Okay, so that's the fun way of working grip. Now we're going to go with the more dedicated actual grip strengthening tools or accessories that are available. So one of the things I said I would get, or that I did get, was the Alpha Gripz hand exercisers. And what comes in the extreme pack, which is what I got, is you basically get 4 levels of donuts, all of them starting at level 1, 2, 3, and then the extreme. These are fairly pretty good. They're mostly for squeezing, working your crushing grip and stuff. So what I wound up doing is I would, instead of just gripping it and then just like crushing and crushing and crushing, which you can bottom out even on the extreme one, I can still like crush it to where it's all the way closed. So what I did instead is I would pick 2 fingers and brace it on my thumb. I would take 2 fingers, I would do a set of these, go to another 2 set of those, and then I'd have to shift it over because the angle is weird, and then a set on the last 2. And I can do that. I can completely close it all the way from 1 to 2. My pinky gets a little bit rough on the 3 and on the extremes. So like I really either have to really concentrate or there's just a little bit of a gap. So is the extreme or the level difficulty really big on these? Not too much, but it definitely gives you something, but that's not what Alpha Gripz is really making their branding on. They're actually doing it on these little finger extenders. And these are pretty simple. You basically just put your fingers in them. All right, you got them captured like that, and then you just extend. Now, one of the things that I noticed, now they do have several levels of these. They do have their initial extreme pack, which does give you 4 levels. Again, 1, 2, 3, and extreme. And I will say this one is like ungodly difficult. The 3 I mostly don't even really bother with, and I'll kind of show you why. But they also have a lighter one called the Rehab, or for Rehab, Prehab. It has Gripz PT on it. I would highly suggest you get this as well. It is like a bit pricey on top of the extreme pack that you get. Actually, probably don't even get the extreme. The people that can do this one, especially the way that I do them, you're a monster. Okay, that's just simply it. You're a monster. If you can do the way that I do these exercises with this,
stop it. Get some help.
So for the PT one, and again, once you get these and you do them the way that I do, you're going to want to get this. So usually when you see people use this, and I'll put up a clip of even Eddie Hall using the blue ones, and you can see the way that he does it.
Balance approach. It's really weird how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I've always found if you train the back of your hand, your grip goes through.
So normally what people do is they put it on, and you know, you got a little bit of give here and stuff, and they'll just come up until like they meet some resistance, and usually it's about like right here. And this is pretty respectable, especially on the higher difficulty ones. The problem is our hands don't stop here. They open fully, right? You should be trying to get at least a flat palm, or what I do is I go to a pulled back palm, and it's a whole lot of thumb and pinky work on this extreme side. But you can see that I'm really exercising my thumb here, and that really makes it far more difficult. So I can do that with the Rehab one, the level one. The level one, depending on where I am in my training session, sometimes I need a little bit of a assistance. And the way that I do that is, again, like I've already done like dozens of reps on like one arm, is I'll probably like get it to here, and I want to get that full extension. All I'll do is I'll just take my other hand and give it just a little bit of a push, and then release. Go to where I can, and then just a little push until I can get that full rep. So I really like these. I think these are really good products. Here is my only thing. One, I do suggest you go with the Alpha Gripz one. They seem to have the better quality control, but also better quality overall, because I bought an off-brand set made by Roygra, whatever that means, and you wind up getting these much bigger holes, so when you do the exercises, the ring actually comes down further on your finger, which kind of defeats the purpose, because the further it goes down, the less resistance you have. So it kind of messes itself up. But not only that, is I initially got 3 different levels with the Roygras, because I didn't want to spend Alpha Gripz money. I just should have spent Alpha Gripz money. But yeah, this is the medium, this is the heavy, and they both technically broke in the same spots. They both broke where this was where my pinky was, and this is where my thumb was, and both of them within 30 seconds of each other, both broke. This is the light one, and I've kind of been not messing with it because I didn't want to break it as well, but both of these broke. So these were technically a piece of junk. What I did get good with these were these little eggs. There's another one, there's a blue one, that's the hard one. I actually really liked these because what I was able to do is, one, like you have like a general like just squeezing and stuff, but I would also place them between my hand and my thumb, and I could squeeze or dig my actual finger in, and you could do that like this as well, or just work curling your fingers. So these were actually like really, really cool, and I liked working with these. So if you can find somewhere where you can just get to these, try. If you need to buy the Roygra ones or whatever and just completely discard this trash, do so. Now, the Roygras, the 2 that broke, those broke like within less than a month of use. Now, having said that, with the Alpha Gripz, with the PT one, unfortunately, I wound up getting this set. I can't remember when I did. I can't exactly remember when I did. I think if I can find when it was delivered, I'll post that. But between then and now, and I'll post a picture of when I took a picture of this, my PT one has developed a tear in it. And that's pretty unfortunate. I'm still able to technically use it, but I don't like that it developed this tear in it. I want to assume that because it's a like easier or lighter stretching material, it's just kind of bound to tearing. But I really didn't like that, especially with the price that you technically had to pay for this. But thankfully, Alpha Gripz has a year-long warranty, and probably soon or before the warranty goes out, I'll have this replaced. And because I'm making a video about this, I can show that, hey, this happened way back when. It's not recent, and it's not from abuse. I probably only have, let's say easily, like there's around like less than or around 500 like stretches or whatever on this. So, which is somewhere like 20 training sessions of about this. So it kind of wound up tearing well before it really should have. The other ones, they've held up great. Also, one of the tricks that I do is I will actually turn these out. It'll give you a little bit more spacing and kind of lighten the resistance by like maybe 15-20% or something, so you can add extra sets with the same weight, but there is a different load on your hands. Okay, so last but not least, what I have here are the Grip Masters. This is the regular Grip Masters, and this is the Pro. So I really like these. The first ones I got was like the red version, which is like somewhere around the medium or something like that. So it's basically a regular hand like squeeze apparatus. The thing is though, is that each individual finger has its own spring attached to it. So this was like really, really cool if you wanted to do some stuff to strengthen individual fingers. You can't really do anything for your thumb, unfortunately, but you can do patterns and drills and different squeezes in order to work this. Again, there is the Pro version. Here's the thing though, if you're gonna go for the Pro version, which the Pro versions has, I think, 2 heavier levels than the regular. The problem is, and I want to put in a picture as well, is the form factor of the Pros is significantly bigger than the regulars. So unless you have big old monster meat hands or stupidly strong grips, these might be like kind of difficult to use versus these. Again, I will put links to everything or most everything in the descriptions. I won't put links to the swords because I'm not going to expect y'all to spend hundreds of dollars just to be able to go whee. But I will put, just go out and go to a hardware store and buy like a 2 to 4 pound hammer and do that. It's not nearly as cool, but is anybody really going to tell you you're not being cool while you're swinging around a hammer? Just, that's dumb.
Run back home, little princess. Dad.
And again, I know the final results were absolutely terrible, but that is completely my fault. That has nothing against the actual training, because the first 4 months of the training where I was very, very diligent, very, very consistent. We obviously had results, and we can probably extrapolate on what the final results possibly could be. So stay tuned, because I will be making another Iron Fist video where we will actually be working on our knuckles and hitting things and all that jazz. So I'm Matic, and I'll catch y'all later.